Good morning. I am going to discuss my pre-K literacy lesson. The lesson that I'm doing is on letter knowledge, phonological awareness, and reading comprehension. And I based all the activities, all the centers on the developmental continuum for early literacy in our textbook. And basically, prior to this lesson, the kids have been learning how to identify letters and matching those sounds to the letters. So I started off with a read aloud of Brown Bear, What Do You See by Bill Martin, because the text tells us that we should really use a predictable read aloud for the kids to take part in. And Brown Bear is a perfect book for that because the constant repetition of the text and the visual cues, the pictures, allow the kids to really make solid predictions on what's going to come next. And it ends up being one of the kids' favorite books because they actually end up being able to read it because they can make the predictions on what the brown bear sees. So we started out with that in the center. And I paused at each page just to allow the kids to make predictions. And then I tried to incorporate some higher order thinking questions after we were done. For instance, how would this book be different if Bill Martin didn't put those pictures in? And, how were we able to make those strong guesses as to what the brown bear would see next? And so that really allows the kids to have conversations with their peers during turn and talk, and also just in the whole group. So after the read aloud, I would break up into centers, and I first would tour the centers to make sure the kids understood how we use each center. And I'm just going to show you just a little touch of each center that I do. Normally what I like to do is if I teach a lesson on something, I then put out 3 centers that reinforce different aspects of that lesson so that as we rotate, they are able to just continually reinforce different aspects of the concept. I do use a timer for the centers because it makes just the whole experience very concrete for the kids so that they know by now, they know the routine, and when the timer goes off, they know that they need to move. For a child who may need additional time, we do give them extended time as a modification. So I wanted to show you some of the centers. The first center is the sensory bin, and I've just made a little sensory bin so you can see, and this is colored rice, which is very easy to make. You can use either hand sanitizer and food coloring or vinegar and food coloring. I've also colored pasta, but a lot of my kids, especially with sensory issues, love the feeling of the rice. It's very soft and it's cool, so they like to use the rice. So in the sensory bin, they are going on a letter hunt. And in the letter hunt, I have put letters mixed into the rice. And along with that, I have a metal sheet. And this I printed up online. I did include the link. This would be laminated on the board. And when they find the letter in their letter hunt, they can correspond it to the letter on the sheet, on the chart. Also, another way you can do this is if you have a teacher or an aide sitting at that center assessing, you can also do a beginning sound magnet match. And so once they find the Z, they have to say what the Z sounds like and then find the object that would match the Z. And these are not in alphabetical order, so the child would actually have to identify the picture that has the same beginning sound as Z. And it's exciting for them because they love to be able to hunt through the rice. So they're learning, but they're also having fun, and it's also very hands-on, very tactile. Another center that I am doing in this lesson is with Play-Doh. And again, the textbook tells us that, again, you want to make everything very concrete for them, and having some sort of creative process. Play-Doh is great because you're able to maneuver it like molding clay. You're able to mold it and shape it. And so I have printed out letter cards, and it doesn't have to be both lowercase and uppercase. You can do one or the other depending on your children's ability level or where they're at in the year. And they would have to form the letter. This is for pre-writing, early writing, with the Play-Doh. And again, they're excited because if you tell them, oh, you're writing letters. In a way, they are writing letters. They're starting to use their muscles. This is great for sensory and for fine motor skills, and for just being able to begin the process of creating the letters. And they're able to do that with Play-Doh. Yeah, right now, they can't really do it with pencils, some of the kids, but with Play-Doh, they can. And so this is another option for a center. And then finally, the other center that I have is our animals. We have a lot of these very large animals, but you can use really anything. If you wanted to use the fruits and vegetables from the kitchen area, something from Dramatic Play, it really depends on what you want. You could even go on an alphabet hunt. I have mini flashlights that I give the kids, and we go around looking for things in the classroom that maybe start with A, if that's what we're working on that day. And so for the animal letter sound recognition, it would be, at this point, you would be sitting with a teacher or an aide, and you would be identifying what letter sound the name of the animal corresponds to. So again, it's just, making this concrete for them, because, in early literacy, it's very difficult for them to just make sense of the sounds with the letters, and when they're put together, making words. And so you're really just breaking it down and making it real. So it's a visual. It's not just this abstract idea. It's a very visual idea. Finally, for some of my kids, I did a writing center, and that was for kids who were able to identify for me a main point of the book, of the story, and they can't write yet, so they would draw. They would draw for me something, and then I would take anecdotals on what they said happened, and that would be part of my assessment. Being able to constantly take written anecdotes. I would take photographs, especially of the centers, since the centers are so hands-on. Those are all assessments, so all of that would be written down and photographed for me to keep a record of their progress throughout the activity. And finally, at the end, we would come together and discuss how the centers went. Another extension you could do is you could also use, especially for the sensory bin, tweezers, the beginning tweezers, the tongs. The kids love that. And that, again, is great for fine motor skills. Just one more thing. I just wanted to say that for student with special needs, working with partners is great to support. Providing an alphabet chart at every station, extended time, having directions constantly repeated, having teacher modeling. And for early English language learners, again, pair up maybe with an English speaker, possibly having a book in their native language, lots of choral readings, double-sided picture cards with both languages, and definitely reading directions in their native language so that they're able to see, and lots of modeling. So I hope that this was helpful. It's definitely the fun. The kids love it because they really get a chance to get their hands on things, and it really does assess and reinforce letters and letter sound recognition. Thank you.